I saw players just like standing around. I mean, it just looked like all things were flowing through Donovan, and they were just watching him play ball. I didn't see good ball movement. I didn't see player movement. I honestly don't know why we didn't start Karis LeVert instead of Struess. And Dean Wayne coming off of like how long has he been out? I mean,
Over
I
two
have
months.
yeah, and so we're talking about substitution stuff. I mean, it was a quagmire of like what is going on in my mind. When you look at the outcome of the game, I mean, pretty much Tatum and Mitchell had the same number of points, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I look at the Cavaliers team, and that includes the other starters and the bench, what more motivation could they have needed to play game three, tied 1-all on their home court in front of a packed house? What more could they have needed to understand this was their moment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was absolutely fit to be tied with the game. I mean, I was disturbed.
And you should have been. Like you said, they came in and this was your game to be had. You had the momentum, you had a huge win in Boston, which you really hadn't had all season long because I think we paid, I want to say 3 games against Boston. I don't believe you know what? We had 4 games against them. We played them earlier in the season because remember, we had that back to back where we had that
Yes.
Friday and we had that Sunday. And then, they came to the queue. So, you had a perfect opportunity to win in Boston, which you had not done, since last season. A couple games went into overtime. They were 3-1 against Boston last year, but nobody's counting. But, I just,
It
it
was
was
ugly.
rough. It
It
was
was
rough.
ugly. I mean, we did not shoot well. We didn't rebound well, whether it be on the offensive end or the defensive end. I mean, we just stunk up the joint, okay? And the turnovers, you know.
That was on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, take
I
it
was
from here. Take it from here.
like, but being unable to finish at the rim. Think about that as
Yeah.
well. Think about all the bunnies and the layups that we missed, and we were not able to convert, and not being able to offensively rebound, not being able to defensively rebound. It's just like you see for Boston Celtics, they're under the rim to rebound the ball, and Cleveland is like acting like the point was scored and they're running off down the field
Yep.
already.
Yep.
Not down the field, excuse me,
I
down the
understand
court
what you mean, though.
already. So, it's just the little things.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Donovan said, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
I'm
good.
sorry, but he said, after game 2, you have to do this type of stuff over and over and over again. And just this team being inconsistent all season long, I don't see them being able to do this over and over and over again.
No, I don't. And you mentioned what Spider said after game two. He also, in his post game interview, praised one Evan Mobley. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he praised him. And, he convinced me that there was a light bulb that went off in Mobley's head, or,
Mm-hmm.
Spider laid hands on him like Nehemiah in the Bible and was like, hey, listen, wake up. Here we are. This is what we worked for all season. And then to come back in game three and see Evan's performance, it just, I just literally had to get up and walk.
Mm-hmm.
Footwork. Here we
Did you
go.
get out that time and walk out the house like you did against the Browns
remember,
versus
I was down.
Baltimore?
I walked out of the. We had a watch party. I walked out of the house, down the street, visited total
Where was that? Where did
strangers.
Sapphire
Helped the lady
go?
plant some flowers in her front yard. I was supposed to be tied with that game too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like a regression
Mm-hmm.
with Evan Mobley. So I mean, I want you to share a scoop with me and listeners. Are we going to see Jared Allen tonight?
I think he was questionable, so I really won't know until I get down there. But one of the things was you see that Evan was able to score points and get in that paint because they weren't defending him.
Right.
One of the things that Boston is doing is they're allowing people to self check. They look at them that these players are not going to beat them. Only Donovan is going to beat them. So we don't even have to guard these people. So that just says, the lack of respect that they have for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, this is a team that has 66 wins. So they've pretty much demolished everybody, in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference too. So, they know what it takes. And, one of the things about, I don't really get a chance to watch Boston that much. I'm not watching them. I don't really like Boston. I did root for them the one time when they played the Lakers, when Kevin Garnett, won his championship, because I don't like the Lakers. So I rooted for Boston, which is very rare.
And then it's really oozing out through the microphones today.
Yeah. And then when LeBron went to Miami, I was rooting for Boston to beat Miami, but that didn't happen. So, whatever. But, Boston doesn't have any respect for the players on the Cavaliers. So they're not even guarding them. They're not guarding Isaac Okoro. So they're like, okay, he might have got hot and made a few 3-pointers, but he's not going to continue to keep that up. And one of the things is, too, why are the Cavaliers not taking it inside? You had so much success taking it inside, and then you were able to chip away at Boston lead by taking it inside, taking it in the paint. You're not going to get the calls because Boston is going to get the calls. But, taking it inside the paint, using Evan Mobley. But they went away from that and they continued to chuck up threes. I know BJ said that they wanted to chuck up more threes, but that's not your game.
Yeah, and that's the coach saying that, right?
Right.
Now we're sitting in the stands watching. Coach is off the court watching. And I mean, think about the amount of distance that the Celtics defenders are given, like in Okoro. Like there's enough space to build a house between where Okoro is at in the corner and where that Celtics defender is coming out to meet him. To your point, maybe you don't want to up fake and drive all the way to the hole, but can you get halfway, help yourself out with a shorter jumper?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing happening. And I'm riding with JB Bickerstaff, but I got mad concerns. No, seriously, I look at him as the leader, just like I do any president of the United States of America. Hey, he's got the position. I want to support him. This was ugly. It was ugly. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I couldn't even listen to the post-game press conference. I didn't want to hear anything he had to say.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of canned answers and stuff like that, because what explanation do you really have for getting your butt beat? I'm not a Jason Tatum fan, but, getting a chance to see him play, he just make it look so easy.
He makes it look, he's that.
I didn't even realize he went to Duke or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just him, and I hate Duke, so I'm not paying attention to Duke. Oh my God. Yes, I hate the Blue Bloods. I hate Duke. I hate North Carolina. I hate Kansas, and I hate Kentucky. So I'm over them. So I'm always rooting for them to lose. But, probably people look at Ohio State like a blue blood of football and root for us to lose. But I'm just like, we don't win all the time. You know what I'm saying? So how are you not rooting for the Ohio State University?
I would have to say the Buckeyes don't win the big games all the time.
Uh-huh.
They win, but not the big games, right?
Uh-huh.
But no, I mean, I'm so old. I remember that whole inbound pass, Christian Laettner, the buzzer beater. My heart's still coming back from that. Duke was a well-coached team, so I can't hate him.
Yeah, Mike Krzyzewski is, you hear a lot of good things about him, but I still don't care, and Dean, what was Dean
Smith?
Dean Smith. Yeah, one of the things is when he passed away, he left $200 for every letter winner under him so they could go out to eat on him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that brought me to tears or whatever. So I'm like, that just shows, the love that he had, for his players and stuff like that. He was have dinner one last time on me.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome. So I guess these coaches, John Calipari couldn't win the big one. He got his title, with Anthony Davis, and that was it. And Bill Self for Kansas, I don't think he got any titles with Kansas or whatever, but Kansas makes it over and over again. So I'm kind of over. That's
how much I think the college play, like the environment has changed. I mean, it's really like, what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the old days where it was about teaching young men and women character and helping them build themselves so they could have a future. It's almost like pro level. If you don't perform, you're out. So it's like a changing of the guard with coaches. So we'll see what Calipari can do in his new skin.
One of the things we're going to get to, we're not going to get to it today, but NIL, since I mentioned Ohio State, I don't know if you heard Urban speaking badly against NIL, but it's just like, Nick Saban did it, all these old guard coaches did it, Dabo Sweeney is against it. He's against the transfer portal. And it's just like anything that would benefit Black people, they don't want. But yet, you make $9-10 million a year, but you don't want the athletes to share in any of them profits or get paid or anything like that. Talking about NIL is messing up the college system. So,
well, to your point, and yeah, we'll talk about this another time, but I also think a component of that is how it impacts their brand. Those coaches could walk into a house and, excuse my French, undergarments could drop. Wow, we got this coach in the house. No more, no mas. Like if the player is not happy with the system, playing time, environment, all of it, that's the beauty to me, not only the transfer portal, but NIL, because they're always going to have the opportunity, the capability to generate some revenue. And that's really what college sports has come to anymore, I think.
And now it's about how much you going to pay me to play, which they don't like. They always been paying players. That ain't nothing new. But now you absolutely have to, they have a problem with it. And like I said, these guys are the highest paid public employees in the state. Urban Meyer was, Ryan Day is, and it's just like, you don't want people to benefit. All these guys, they're getting in car crashes every play, risking their life, limb, health, body for these universities, and you don't want them to have a come up. And I just seriously have a problem with it. But like I said, that's something that we're going to get into on another date. But we're going to go ahead and take a break. Sapphire, time is just flying by. So we're going to go ahead and go into our first break. So you are listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We're going to be right back. Oh. You okay?
Evan Mobley with those two left feet. That'll make you cough and gag. Jeez, oh Pezo, that young man.
Yeah, one of my issues with him is the slow development. And it's like, he had a great game at the end of game one because Boston kind of took their foot off the brake.
Yeah.
He had a great game in game two. I think he scored 21 points or whatever. So he scored 21 points and he was able to get inside. But once again, I believe that's because Boston wasn't guarding him.
Absolutely it was. And this is the thing, right? It's like, why even have him in the game at that point? I mean, honestly, let me ask you, at what point during that game did you feel like it had become out of reach? Truly out of reach.
After that first run when they was up 21 points.
Mhm.
Even though the Cavs were chipping away, they weren't able to get stops on their end, and that's one of the things that harmed them is not being able to. Boston jacked up a bunch of threes. They
Mhm.
converted. Like I said, Jason Tatum. I didn't really recall, Jaylen Brown doing too much or whatever like that, but Jason Tatum was just a dagger. I think it's Derek White that they got from the
Yep.
San Antonio Spurs.
Yep.
He pretty much, was money. Remember, they're not playing with Kristaps Porzingis, and
Yes.
I'm hoping that he does not come back this series. But I don't even know if it matters.
And I would have to agree with that. And that's the thing. To me, they could shoot all those jumpers, all those trifectas, because we didn't put our defense on them. We talked about this a couple of shows ago. We have bodies able to travel. To me, it looked like they had wide open shots. They had time to look, square up, shoot the ball. I did not see us even come close to playing with the same intensity level as we did in game two. And I'm going to remind you of something that you said at the beginning of the season when we talked about maybe my therapy session, watching Evan Mobley, the 7-footer, shoot trifectas. You said, well, get used to it because even in training camp, he said that's what his game, he worked on that aspect of his game. And so now we're seeing the result of that. You put that out there before the season even started.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that he talked about too, was he was going to be shooting more 3-pointers, and that's something that he worked on. And when you see him behind the line, you're just like,
Yeah.
and
That's
then it
one
goes
way.
in, and you're like, okay,
I'm doing a Hail Mary, Mother of God, doing the virtual crucifix, praying, because I will never get used to that. I just think I'm in that generation. Once or twice, okay, fine. But 7-footer, he needs to be in the paint, on the elbow. I mean, and that booty thing, that booty scoot thing he does.
Yeah.
You talk about missing bunnies. I don't see a
Mhm.
consistent hook shot with him. I don't see him facing up and being aggressive to the hole. I just think maybe I have aged out.
No, I think you're absolutely correct. And like I said, I don't know if this coaching staff is like, he's developed as much as he possibly is going to, but I don't believe that. I believe you can be a big guy and have excellent footwork. I believe that you can shoot 3-pointers because you've seen it done, by other people, by other 7-footers. You have the ability, but I don't know what's going on with the develop of him because, getting, and having, a few traveling calls, nobody being open for him to pass the ball to as well. That's also an issue. You got to help him. You already know that he's struggling. Why are you not helping and being an outlet for him to pass the ball to when you see him shuffling his feet? And Boston, they made the adjustments on him where he was less effective. So, you got to give credit to Boston as well. Like I said, they woke up like they had a shot in Arcan, and I don't want them to rattle off 3 straight against the Cavs. The Cavs have to, not be men, but they have to go out there with a mission and purpose. And, nobody expects them to win this series. Nobody expects them to beat the New York Knicks, but we don't even know if the Knicks are going to get out of it because the Pacers have tied this up.
Those Pacers are for real.
So we don't even know if they're going to, make it past the Pacers at this point. But, the Cavs have every opportunity to put Boston on their heels with winning game 3. And they came out flat. They came out listless. Nobody helped Donovan. And the way Donovan looked in that locker room, he just looked, like I said, I told you earlier, he had been hit by a Mack truck. And literally he stayed in the same position, just staring off in space for 10 minutes.
Wow.
10 minutes.
That touches me because he's a superhero on the court, but he's one superhero on the court. And you look to your right and you look to your left, and you're really looking into the hearts of your teammates, and you're like, where are you at? I thought he was overly expressive, if you will, in terms of his support on the court of his teammates and even the crowd. He was trying to get everyone jacked up to give all of that emotional and psychological energy on top of physical energy. I cannot imagine how exhausted he was after that game. And it's just really unfortunate. And I'm gonna hammer on Mobley. Listen, You know what he reminds me of?
Who?
Olive oil.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Okay, first of all, that Popeye movie was excellent.
Okay.
I love that Popeye movie.
A little brevity works. A little brevity.
I could watch it now and still be in love with that Popeye movie.
He just is so soft going up to the rim,
Mhm.
right? Get your foul. Be aggressive. Take it. You know, it's just I hate to sound like a broken record. There's something off there. There's like a disconnect. And then go hire a Shaq. Go get someone that's retired that has had, established themselves as an NBA big man and help him during the off season. I see a regression with Mobley, right? Since what is he, third, fourth year now? I stopped counting. I'm just shaking my
Third
head.
year.
He looks like he's even lost weight since he was drafted.
And he
right?
said he put some more in this summer.
Is that a jacket? Was it a backpack? Because I certainly don't see it. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jared Allen, he's nothing to lose. Just come on out. You can have off-season surgery or whatever the issue is. Come on out. I think that would be a heck of a motivator for the other team members other than Spike.
Yeah, and Donovan, had to speak life into these teammates and give them confidence. This is coming from your leader talking about, how great you played. And they all look up to Donovan. They all want to be like him. They all want to play like him. So when your leader is praising you, it makes you feel good about yourself. He praised Evan. So, he's hoping that in the same time, I'm searching for a word that I can't think of. In the same breath, he's hoping that, that these guys are heeding that and seeing that they possibly could pull off an upset, but, at the end of the day, I think Boston is just too good. And, I had said that, they were going to get swept. So, I'm glad that, they were able to win the game, but it's about how you respond, and coming into game 3, you had to make adjustments for what Boston, did, because you knew that they were going to come out strong. You knew that you were going to get their best. I don't even feel like you got their best in game 3. I don't feel like Boston played to their ability. It seemed like they weren't playing with any intensity or anything like that. They were just going with emotions. And, we know that this is a team that takes, situations off. So the Cavs could take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something else. I can't remember what quarter it was because I think we're all starting to throw wine at the screen. But what's wrong?
Mitchell's out for the night.
Oh, breaking news right here. Take us home. What else does it say?
George Mendicky actually broke that and said it just literally broke that Donovan Mitchell is out tonight.
This is a call to action for every single Cleveland Cavaliers player that's going to dress for this game tonight. This is it. Did they say what the injury was?
I think this is probably his knee because his knee has been bothering him. So I don't know if we talked about him limping back up the court or whatever. Left calf issue.
Wow. So once again, breaking news, Donovan Spider Mitchell will not be playing in tonight's game at home versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wow. I mean, I think I'm hearing bodies drop right now, even through my headphones. That is major breaking news.
Yeah, you're hearing. Let me get to some of the comments that George has. George says, any small sign of Boston floundering, praying hard that the whining go take advantage of it. Another pet peeve, don't. Please, I'm begging for even Evan Mobley shooting threes. He's a block player. Feed him the ball, distribute to others just like game 2. Thank you. He also said Bill Self has won an NCAA title with Kansas. Yeah, that's what I thought when he had Mario Chalmers. Yeah. He says, ouch, Donovan Mitchell out, just broke. And then he said calf. So, we know that his knee has been an issue. So, I guess Boston, is going to take their 3-1 lead and then go ahead and finish it off in Boston.
That's a high probability event. That is a high probability event. I expect to see Jared Allen in this game. Absolutely now. And if he does not play in this game, the Cavaliers should refund every single fan their tickets and parking. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, this is the time where these professional athletes need to show, right, what they're made of. That's it. And now I'm worried even about, Mitchell's calf, like, and I don't know the anatomy of it all. Does it start with the knee and progress to the calf, or is this a separate injury?
I don't know which knee was originally injured though. I don't know if it was the left or the right because it could be, opposite, or whatever. But at the end of the day, this is devastating for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And pretty much, unless they can respond like the Miami Heat did without Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier, the Cavs don't got a chance. And, one of the things is you want them to go out and play for Donovan, play for your leader. Like you made a great point. Hopefully, Jared Allen gets back, can come back, to help counter that. You had Dean Wade come back, but that wasn't really, he came off shooting the three, which was, great, but, it really didn't do anything in the scheme of things. And, that might have been a once in a lifetime performance that he had against Boston a couple months ago, because he definitely was not able to duplicate that. And, maybe I should not have expected that from him. But he did not duplicate that performance. So I almost just want to throw my hands up in air like Miley Cyrus, put your hands in the air, or
Okay.
party in the USA. But I don't know if it's a party in Cleveland. So this team has to respond to their leader being
Well,
out.
if my cousin is listening, she's probably clapping and very excited because she is a real DG fan. So maybe in her estimation, he distributes the ball more evenly and he moves the ball. So maybe that's what we will see with the absence of Spider Mitchell. We will see the Cavaliers move the ball more, be more aggressive, get more people involved. I don't know. I mean, I'm like you. It's the time for them to step up and show that they're true peers of Donovan Mitchell. Wow.
No Jared Allen.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Yeah, Jared Allen is out for game 4. So this is the opportunity for Darius Garland right now.
Yeah, yes,
This is an opportunity for him to shine, show why he makes over $20 million a year. This is his show. He doesn't have to worry about sharing the ball with Donovan, making some type of, perfect balance with him. This is your show. This is you leading this team to victory. You are Jason Tatum. Who could be our Jalen? Who could be our Jalen Brown?
Wow. Ooh,
You
that's a
think
great
Karis
question.
LeVert?
Honestly, for me, I know he can handle a little bit, but I'd rather see him as more of that slashing, like forward, right? That can go ISO versus, handling the offense. And I don't know who that person is, but that's just my view. Who else? Who is going to back up other than Karis? Else is going to back up DG?
Well, you got Sam Merrill.
Can you think he can handle the pressure of that and trying to shoot and trying to play basketball?
Yeah, what was that one point guard? I forgot what his name was. It's not CJ. What is it? Talk about with the curly hair. He had got some burn. I haven't seen him dressed though.
Porter?
Yes.
Okay.
You have him. He hasn't gotten any burn. It's sad that Imani Bates hasn't had the opportunity
Absolutely.
to, be able to do anything this year with the Cavs, only in garbage time. So, it would have been nice to see how they developed him and, could he possibly have been beneficial and stuff like that to this bench, going into this playoff series. But Sapphire, it is definitely not looking good tonight, with this devastating news.
So did they say that Donovan was out just this game, or did they indicate that it could be like a longer number of games that he's out?
He's out this game, but I'm looking at this like, this series games are every other day. So, there's no rest. So they play on Wednesday and then they play on Friday if they make it to game 6, which would be back in Cleveland.
Then they just have to win this game. So, I mean, maybe Max Struess can help DG a little bit. I want Karis swinging and cutting and moving and, being free to roam on the court. Because that's, to me, that's one of the ways he gets into a flow, separate from making his free throw shots. Max Struess is not producing right now. So perhaps they will try to relegate him to supplementing DG when he's out on the court so we don't burn him out. I mean, I don't know what else they have in terms of, opportunities to back up DG. I mean, I'm at a loss right now. No Jared Allen.
And one of the things is they went out and got Max Strus this offseason for shooting ability. They went out and got George Niang as well for his shooting ability too. So now they have to step up.
I wasn't gonna say it, but since you brought up Mr. Niang, pudding pie, my pudding pie. Yes, yes. I'm just saying. So I don't know. We'll see what it does. We'll see what it does.
All right. We're going to take a break right quick. You are listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but they also have Ty Jerome. But have we really seen him in this?
You ready? All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. Remember, you can always listen to us on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. Remember, you can listen to us online at WOVU.org. Download that WOVU app. I have it downloaded. Sapphire, you got it downloaded on your phone?
Yes, I do.
And you can listen to us on the go. And then also you can contact the station at any time with questions, comments, or concerns at 216-271-0959. We were talking Cleveland Cavaliers, and we just got some devastating news. And pretty much I have no hope for tonight. And, maybe a gentleman's sweep will take place. I wanted the Cavs to have a chance. I wanted it to be competitive. I wanted to go 7 games. But, injuries, are plaguing us right now. And nobody cares about that. Boston don't care about that.
No, if Boston is the Boston that I know of, they are going to step even harder on the carotid artery of the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. They're gonna put this game away, and they're looking at closing out. And I hate to look ahead. It's still, I think that this is an opportunity for us to really see the heart and soul of the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight.
Because you know what? Boston ain't going to give it any effort tonight. They're just too good. And just watch. When you watch this game, you'll see Boston ain't going to put no effort in to win this game because Donovan Mitchell is gone. Once they isolate him, they've been able to take out, Darius Garland. Darius hasn't done anything. Isaac Okoro's is self-check. They don't guard him. That's why he was able to go off for a couple 3-pointers. But guess what? He stopped making those 3-pointers, so they still didn't guard him. He got hot for a little bit, but, in game 1, but that tapered off. And Evan Mobley, if they get in there and play good defense on him and disrupt his footwork, but I think you're not really even gonna see an effort from Boston because they know that they about to do a gentleman's sweep. And I don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want this to happen.
Yeah. I mean, for me, straight up, if I am JB Biggerstaff, I'm already in the locker room. Okay, first of all, I said a massive prayer. But then I'm
Please,
just really,
basketball, Jesus.
right? I'm just calling out specific players. Max, we need you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hey, Isaac, we need you to give us more than just the great defense that you play. Evan, we need you to just let the game come to you, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to lose, right? Just play to your passion, right? That's what I'm doing if I'm the coach.
Do you think the Cavs going into this game like we already lost?
No, you know what? I don't think that. I refuse to think that professional NBA players have that type of mentality. What I imagine in my fantasy world is that they are like in the locker room having real moments with each other, looking at each other in the eyes through the backbone of their souls and saying, listen, we're professionals. Each of us brings something to this organization. We got our main player out, but that doesn't mean that the whole, all of the other pieces that we have can't execute. I expect a much more physical game tonight. I mean, cantankerous. Like we may see some technicals. I expect this from professionals. So, yeah, obviously, without two of our starters, it's not looking good. Again, this is a time for the Cavaliers to show their constitution, man. That's where I'm at.
When you said, about other pieces showing out and showing up, one of your other pieces suck.
Well, then it's going to be a quick night. We're gonna be back to maybe those old brown bag days in the stadium. No, I'm just joking. Look, they just have to. They have to step up and be professional basketball players. Like you said earlier, it's not about being a man, it's about being a professional and stepping up and playing to your fullest potential.
Yeah, just don't get blown out. Try to be competitive. Try to, have some dignity and, walk off the court knowing that you did everything possible and, live with that. Ricky Smith says, hello, ladies. A belated happy Mother's Day to you and go Cavs. Thank you, Ricky. We appreciate that. Good to see you as well. What are your thoughts? Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen are out for tonight. What are your thoughts? Do you think that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be able to pull off an upset and channel and play for Jared and play for Donovan? I'm just brokenhearted at this point. I don't know if you noticed, but the steam has ran out of me too.
You can tell. Because you're a ride or die for Cleveland sports fans. So I have sports teams. I get that part.
We supposed to be neutral though.
Well, I mean, it's probably because I'm a hybrid, Cleveland and the East Coast, that maybe that helps me be more neutral because my fealty is kind of diluted amongst, across the different teams and different leagues. But I mean, I just really stand on what I said before. And guess who else that includes?
Who?
Coach B.
Oh.
He's got to come out of what appears to be this like box he keeps himself in, right? Very controlled. Yeah, he'll yap it up a little bit, but he just needs to come out of pocket. And when his team looks at him, they need to see outwardly that he is as emotionally invested in this game as they should be tonight. That's what's up.
Do you throw all the adjustments out because it's not going to work anyway? Listen to me. I'm so negative right now. I did not mean to be negative. I hate that. I want to be positive about this.
No, it's hard, and of course, there's an age difference between us, right? I have seen the most bizarre things, and I just believe he should open up the gates and let the cattle run. Just run. He knows what they're made of. He sees it in practice. He sees them do things that we don't even see on the court. He's seen some kind of curious chemistry between players that maybe he doesn't even play, like sub in. They're not in the same rotation. Like literally, it is cojones to the wall tonight. Just play. Understand, like Missoula did when the Cavaliers in the last game I think they got back within 8. He called that quick timeout because he saw they were okay. They're on a run. Things like that. There are things that the coach can do to help manage the game on the court, right? So again, for me, this includes the coach as well as the players demonstrating his professionalism.
Yeah. Right now, Boston's like, we got
Can't
them.
leave you thinking that.
Yeah.
And the crowd too. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Cavaliers fans, you're down there. Like, leave your guts out
Yeah.
there. Like, help this team. Keep them uplifted, right? Don't be Debbie Downers or Donald Downers, if I could be, gender neutral, right?
Yeah.
This is huge. We have home court. Let's show them what that is and be consistent about it.
Make sure you use the proper pronouns now.
That's right.
But this crowd, like you said, has got to get behind this team. They have to be loud. They have to, take Boston out of their game. But one of the things is Boston is so good, and for them, it's championship or bust this year. They've put all the pieces in place, to get them there. I don't know if I had them winning. I think, remember that game against the Nuggets? Everybody was like, "This is the finals rematch here." Could possibly be because I think the Mavericks up 3 games.
Is it 2-all?
I'm trying to.
Let me double check here on the web.
I'm trying to think. It might be 2-all. Because I thought they was gonna get swept by Minnesota after that. Minnesota.
You're right. 2-1. 2-1. They're up 2-1.
Okay.
This next game is tonight at 9:30. My bad.
Okay, no, you're fine. Yeah, it's the West. Like I said, Denver plays the most boring basketball I've ever seen in my life. So, it's kind of hard to follow them a little bit. I was rooting for the Timberwolves and I was rooting for OKC because they've never won titles before. Denver has their titles. So, I'm like, okay, it's time for somebody else to win. Denver got they won. So I'm interested to see who comes out of the West, but I still think whoever comes out of the West is not capable of beating Boston unless it's probably Denver. And Denver might not be capable of beating Boston. You think somebody else might come out?
I just don't know about that. I mean, seriously, I think there's much more parity in the league this year. And, at least I look at Boston through the Eastern Conference lens.
Okay.
There's something to be said about teams having to travel. And, this would be the third round if Boston makes it, by the way. It would be the third playoff round. There's wear and tear. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that Boston's a guarantee.
Okay. Well, they still got to finish out the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And again, please, let's see some physical play down there. Let's see some physical play. We got bodies.
Yeah.
Let's D them up.
Yeah, we can't have anybody be hurt anymore though. So, that's a terrible thing. And, I'm trying to get my life together right now because I'm just devastated. So we're going to go ahead and take another break. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. And we'll be right back.
Great job, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am here with Miss Sapphire Blue. And right now, we're trying to, my energy is all the way off right now. We got some devastating news about, half an hour ago? Has it been half an hour ago? We got some devastating news tonight for game 4. And this was obviously a must win for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but now you have some injuries and nobody cares. You can't make any excuses. Like, you said, Sapphire, these are professional basketball players. So you have to go out there and win this game. I don't know how you're going to do it, but, it could be one of the biggest, games in history if they could go out and defeat the Boston Celtics in game 4 on their home court. And that's one of the advantages that you have is that you're at home. You're not on the road. So you still have the opportunity to tie this series up.
Absolutely. And it is a must win. It is absolutely a must win. And there's still a game that has to be played.
Yeah, Ricky says, I did not know that our team would be without these stars. I will keep hope alive. He also said, Loudville must live up to that name tonight in the land. That is absolutely correct. They got to get loud out there because, without the crowd, they don't have anything going on. So I'm devastated right now. I know I got to get my composure together. And, we're going to be okay. At the end of the day, I don't play for the Cavs. I got poor people's problems. These are rich people's problems right now that's taking place. So, at the end of the day, I'll be okay. Cleveland fans, always will because there's always next year. But it's just not fair. It's not fair.
It's the way the chips fall. And again, I'm real big on off-season conditioning. I harp on this all of the time. What are the players on all of our different professional teams doing to keep their bodies in shape and taking their fitness levels, up a notch? I think I've expressed myself about a certain player on the Cavaliers, but this is just the time they have to show up. And they need to go into this game understanding the game starts 0-0. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 4 quarters to do our thing and use the motivation that they should have based on the outcome of the previous game as well. So it's just they have to win. I mean, honestly, I just believe they know they have to win. So that's what I got.
Yeah, you have to be physical and take it to Boston. You have to get points inside, especially when the shot is not falling. They need to recognize that because, Boston went on a series of runs in which Cleveland couldn't make a shot. And they were also couldn't finish at the rim. One of the issues that have plagued us all season long is our perimeter defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're struggling with that. Boston got some open looks down in the paint because of defensive assignments that were missed. You can't have that tonight.
You can't. And again, I go back to what we talked about before the beginning of the series. With all due respect, Al Horford at 37 is still a young man, but in basketball years, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I say I'd rather them let Karras go. Like, let him free range. He can find those pockets. He can find those lanes. He's phenomenal around the basket. We just need to open up the middle, and that's where our other players need to step up. Max Strus, hello, I'm calling you out, right? We just need to get this done tonight. We have the pieces. Can they come together and execute despite having 2 of our best players out? That's the question.
Yeah, and Boston says that they're using the motivation of being beat by the Cavs in like 2018 or something like that. That was 6 years ago, and nobody is on the same team still except for Tristan Thompson, who came back to Cleveland.
Yeah, but it's curious that they said that because they're looking for motivation because perhaps they could be a little complacent, right? We found that out in game 2. You got to dig deeper and deeper and deeper to have a motivation. That's a tell, right? So I just expect the Cavaliers to execute well tonight. Now, the outcome of the game, I don't know, but I expect them to be physical, be aggressive, execute. I want to see everybody that has a uniform on get PT, right? We've got to wear the Celtics down. We have to be physical with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't like that because they're going to be mad looking for calls, and hopefully you're back on offense while they're still screaming. But I haven't seen that as much because they get all the calls anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I hate to see the Cavaliers players do. I see Max Strus talking a lot to referees, right? And I'm like, Max, just please jot on down to the other end of the
because you ain't getting that call.
That's what I'm saying. Just give it up. And to see Tatum, I think it was like the first half. in that last game, drive to the hole, bucket it up, and then turn to the crowd and flex his muscles. I was like, oh, no, he is not doing
Mhm.
that in Rocket, at the Rocket. I just was like, come on, man. Come on.
Mhm.
I know y'all get paid a lot of money, but still, come on. He's in your house
Mhm.
flexing like that.
Jogging backwards and stuff like
Right?
that. I was like, okay, I take note, Jason. I take
Jeez.
note. Them jogging backwards like this so easy. They gonna get theirs one day though. But this is for the Boston Celtics. The way this team has been built, and they don't win a championship. I hope that they don't break it up. They've talked about that, but they got to pay Jason Tatum. This year, and they've already paid Jaylen Brown. And right now, Jaylen Brown makes the most money in the NBA. So you already know Jason Tatum contract gonna blow that out the water. So I'd rather see them together. I like rooting against them, but I'd rather see them stay together instead of them breaking that apart and imploding that.
Well, I'm a firm believer. When you see two big sign like that, it's the beginning of the end for the franchise because there's still that kind of internal friction where people are like, "Look, this is what I feel like I contribute. Where is my contract?" I mean, there is a cause and effect for having big name players, multiple big name players on the same squad. I mean, we can look at other teams and see the same thing. You're in that position now where you're relegated to getting, with all due respect, these B and C level players, and you don't really have a nice balance across your starting lineup, even going into your bench. I have seen that time and time again. So either way, I think Boston is headed to a quasi rebuilding stage because they do have to sign Tatum as well to follow up with Jaylen Brown.
Well, they play well together, and I think Jaylen Brown know that Jason Tatum is about to get paid. So he got his money, and he know that Jason about to get his. So that's an interesting dynamic over there. But they play well together.
But that's two players that play well together. I'm talking about the other players in and around these ginormous contracts that are being signed.
Oh yeah,
best believe that's in their mind. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, we got 5 minutes left. Let's talk about some Guardians. Right now the Cleveland Cavaliers are in the playoffs. And depending on what happened, we're gonna be talking Guardians a lot. The Browns are, obviously, about to come up soon too. But right now we all basketball, a little bit of baseball, but soon we'll be all baseball. Which is one of my favorites. So right now, we have some issues with this team. They lost the series that they had with the White Sox. They lost 2 games and they were able to win yesterday and have, win handily. But, one of the things is that you're seeing is, this issue with Stephen Kwan not playing. He's your leadoff hitter who usually gets on base. He was hitting over 300. And, now this team is struggling to find a leadoff hitter. They're struggling to get people on base for Jose Ramirez or for Josh Naylor to be able to bring them home. The Guardians, have hit a couple home runs, but they're not a team. One of the things that Stephen Vogt said, we're not a team that's going to hit a whole bunch of homers or anything like that. We're going to get on the bases by playing small ball and being aggressive. But this team doesn't hit for power. Your outfield doesn't hit for power. Think about you have Miles Straw, Will Brennan, he'll hit home runs occasionally, and Stephen Kwan, who had like maybe 5 home runs all year long. So Ricky says, I'm Debbie Downer tonight. Yes, Ricky, I am. My energy is all the way off. I need some crystals or something like that right now to help with my energy. But yeah, playing small ball. I mean, this team doesn't hit for power. So, what are you going to do, to get these, like you got 2 big boppers and hitting it at 3 and 4. But if you have nobody on base, you have nobody to bring them home. So, you got them hitting home runs, but they're solo shots, and solo shots aren't going to get it done. You have to hit home runs with men on base.
I mean, I would agree with that. And, besides the fact that I'm going to be consistent with you and tell you that the New York Yankees are going to go undefeated for the rest of the year and win the World Series. Now that I've gotten that off my chest, for me, it's again, I hate small ball because that tells me as a fan that I should never think to aspire that the Guardians are going to be competitive come October because we know what's up there in the Northeast, right? Mm-hmm. So I really am over this whole small ball. It's a recycling of the same old propaganda that subliminally makes us feel like, okay, we'll have a decent regular season, but we'll probably be either not make the playoffs or be eliminated in the wild card. So, but before I go even there, listen, it's still early. They have time. And for me, my eye is squarely on Joshua Naylor. Is he in shape? Right? Because we know when was the last full season he actually played, right? There's potential there, but to your point, we don't have bats. So what do we have to do between now and even after the All-Star break to show fans that we're competitive?
Just go out and win. Win these games that you're supposed to win. Tonight, the next 3 games they have are against the world champion Texas Rangers. So, these are good measuring sticks and good opportunities. One of the things is, when they played against Atlanta, they lost those games in extra innings. So, they're trying to be competitive. So we'll see what happens. Sapphire, it's been a great show. It's good to have you back in studio. So for Sapphire Blue, for Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, you have been listening to her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM, and we are out of here. Go Cavs.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Great. Thank you for being here.
Girl, I saw when you said it was just me and you. I was like, do you mean that literally? And I said, let me sneak through here. I'm glad that